Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, let's bring in this guy.
What is up, Streamland? I'm JD Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. Calderon, what's up, brother? How you doing?
You know, same as I was doing last night. I'm good.
Trying to take over the world, baby. Trying to take over the world.
Oh yeah, one comic at a time.
That's how we do it. One comic at a time. And we got a bunch of talented creators today who've been doing it one comic book at a time. You ready to bring him in?
Yes, sir. Let's bring in this guy, the Coco.
Yeah. Coco, Streamland. That's how we do this now.
Yeah.
Streamland. We learned that last night.
Loving it.
Yep.
Loving it.
Tom Hutchison, Big Dog Inc. guys, writer, art director, sales guy, shipping dude, whatever, all things at Big Dog Inc.
Nice.
Cool.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jorge Medina. I'm the creator of The Adventures of Wonder Duck and Rust 5377, who's celebrating 25 years this year. I created that thing back in '99. So I'll be, I'm promoting that, and also I'm the co-host on a podcast called Catch the Craze, and I have my own podcast called The Art of Comic Writing on my YouTube channel, Get Your Meds. So yeah, that's who I am. That's what I'm doing.
Nice.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jeff Schiller. I make a comic called Magic Powder, and we're doing a spin-off series called The Elf with No Name, which is like a Western fantasy comic set like hundreds of years before Magic Powder. So there's no crossover with characters or anything like that. But, maybe you'll see some Easter eggs here and there.
All right, cool.
Hey everyone, I'm Haydes from ASAP Imagination. It's late here, so I'd like to match Jay's energy, but probably can't. I'm the owner of ASAP Imagination and Any One World. I'm a writer, publisher, and we help other people get published, distributed, things like that.
Nice.
Cool.
Hey everybody, I'm Randy Zimmerman, Arrow Comics, arrowcomics.store. Go over there and take a look. I also podcast twice a week on the Indy Comics Network. Comics by Night, Friday morning at 5 a.m. and Sunday Funnies, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. So we talk about all things comics and been in this business for many, 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 many decades. So done a lot of stuff. Love being here.
Cool. Good. So Randy,
Sir.
You'll go first.
Okay.
Here's the show question. So listen, we know how tough it's been, right? So the question is, how are you surviving in this indie market? The current marketplace, the way it's running, things are a little bit in flux. It's a little strange. So what are you doing to survive and prep for the future even?
When is the market never in flux or never changing? I'm like Rosario, one comic at a time. That's how you survive. You go out there and you push your stuff and you show off your stuff and you hope people read and enjoy your stuff. So, and how else am I surviving? Well, I got a fantastic wife. That's a part of it. That's the health insurance. And, we're both looking at retiring, quote unquote, this year, though I'm never going to leave the board. But yeah, we're at that age where we're starting to relax a little bit and take it. The bones don't move as fast as they used to, but I'm not going to stop doing comics. So, and I hope people will keep reading them. That's what it is.
All right, cool. George, what are your thoughts?
What am I doing to survive? I have a 9-to-5. I have a 9-to-5 job that's helping me pay for these very expensive comics that we love making. So that's what I'm doing. But also I've linked up with with others to help me do this. Haydes being one of them. He's at Imagination. Nice. Big shout out to him. He's actually publishing my Rust book, which helps with the promotion and putting it out there in different platforms, as well as Darkfire Press, who publishes The Adventures of Wonder Duck, and actually they're also being sold on the Ace of Imagination platform. So just linking up with different people, trying to just expand the network, so to speak. I'll be at C2E2 this weekend, doing a little bit more of that. So yeah, I think that, and then just I'm trying to stay motivated and creative. You know what I mean? So that the weight of doing all this stuff doesn't stop you from doing it, because sometimes that can happen, right? We're like, you've been doing this for a long time, you see nothing is happening, and so you stop. It's like going to the gym and you see no results, and then you just stop going to the gym. I try to just surround myself with other creative individuals to help me continue to do this. So that's what I'm doing.
Cool. Jeff, what are you thinking?
I mean, it depends what you mean by surviving, because like Jorge said, or George said, yeah, man, like I have a regular job, you know what I mean? I don't make any real money off of it. Everyone, I pay my artists, I pay the printer, I pay the shipping, USPS and pirate ship. And in the end, I'm probably, when I did my taxes this year, they gave me like, let's say there was a certain number or whatever it wasn't as much as I spent on the comics. So I didn't really have to pay any taxes. So that was cool as far as that part goes. That's how I'm surviving with a regular job like everyone else. But like George said, and Randy said, one issue at a time. That's it. Not rushing it. Trying not to do too much, because I don't want to scare people off either. Like, oh man, another campaign. Because I feel like I even feel that sometimes about other creators. So I don't want to be that guy. So like, just taking my time, trying not to run off my audience, trying to bring in new people. I did a convention called the Las Vegas Toy Con like 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
And no, it wasn't nice at all. It sucked. But I mean, it was cool. Whatever. Like one guy came up to me who had actually backed every one of my Kickstarters. So that was cool. I got to meet him. And then cool. I did sell some comics, not a lot. I didn't make my like table fee back. I bought this little thing right here to hold my comics now, which is cool. I did not make that back. Stuff like that, whatever. But that's the game, So I'm just learning as I go. I would not mention or recommend doing toy conventions, just because I think everyone's there for Funko Pops. They're not there for comic books. So I was the only comic creator there, actually. So
you took a gamble, bro. You took a gamble. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Are you in the Vegas area?
I live in Vegas. Yeah. Well, now technically I'm in Henderson. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Hades, what are you thinking?
Well, I actually do this full time now. So for me, it was learning about different marketplaces and understanding how to put it out there, looking at different platforms, what works, what doesn't work. Insomnia is a big help. I'll say that. I don't, George will testify to this. I've had many conversations with him where I've like, I slept like 2 hours. It was great. But, understanding what companies will take what on. So for example, over here we have a chain of stores that would never take on the floppy, so we've got to wait till we get to that trade time. But what have we already got that we can move? And then the digital side of things, so I started our Any One World platform. I started that a year after I started the original platform, and then I opened it up not just as a publisher, but I opened it up as digital distribution. And thus far, we've been very lucky. Since pretty much the beginning of the year and part of last year, we were doing 2 releases a week through the Any One World. Every Sunday, every Wednesday. I did one tonight, but we've also, we've opened it up where we'll take on novelists as well, because it falls within our genres. So, we've got different things in there. And then one of the things I do is targeted marketing. So everyone who is in the Any One World gets their own collection. So if you go to it, you can find the Jorge Medina collection. So it's all of us as singles, as digital, the graphic novel, Wonder Duck, and then he's doing writing for us as well now. And Insomnia.
Hades, I'm sorry, I don't want to assume exactly where are you. I know it's not Vegas.
Yeah, no, I'm in the UK. I'm in the UK. Yeah, that's why I'm sounding like I'm whispering, because I don't want to annoy neighbours. But yes, I'm in the UK. Yeah.
Okay. Do you do the London Supercon or any big events out there? Or what?
So we did. Yeah, I've been doing quite a few here. I've actually found some better responses at smaller ones.
Okay.
So I just did a smaller one last weekend. It was amazing. It was one of those ones where you knew it was going to be a good day. The convention started at 11. I made my first sale at 11:03. And you go, right, okay, this is going to be good. Yeah. And then we've got our own YouTube channel. Laura Calcaterra hosts. We've got something called the Any One World Showcase, where we, each episode is just dedicated to the people that through the Any One World and stuff like that. So yeah, it's trying to find different ways of doing it.
Nice. Cool. Mr. Hutchison. I know. Walk around the lake first, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Yeah, so I mean, surviving. I mean, it's like we've kind of gone over it all here. There's surviving in life, and then there's surviving in comics, and they're kind of two different things. But they kind of need to work together as well, because you got to pay your bills in order to make your comics. For me, the surviving has been kind of like what Haydes was talking about, and we were trying to get into last night on Jay's show, which is, comic is a comic, but a comic, there's not one channel for comics. You can have crowdfunding, you can have a website, you can have eBay, you can have Comic Cons, live. I mean, there's an endless variety of ways to sell your comics. And that's one of the key pieces to, I think, surviving in comics, is understanding that there's more than what you're doing now. It's also one of the hard things, because that means you have more work to do. And that's not always, it's not always what you want to hear, but that's the reality. And then like what Jeff was talking about with, he doesn't want to be the guy with another campaign. Like, yeah, you want to be that guy. Because here's the thing, no one goes into the comic book store every month and say, another Batman. Like, the consistency of, oh, there's another one. Yes, there will always be those people that are like, yo, like another one, but they don't matter. None of those guys matter, because if they're complaining about you being consistent with a product, that don't matter. They're not there for anything that you want to be doing as far as building your brand. So be that guy. Yes, I'm doing 8 campaigns this year, be that guy, and just, power out the product, because again, consistency is part of survival too. If you drift off and people forget that you're doing stuff, you have to almost rebuild, some portion of the foundation that you had, because, oh yeah, Tom, yeah, I remember he did something last year. Like, no, I did something 2 months ago and 2 months ago and 2 months ago. And you can't let yourself fall out of the view of the general audience, but specifically the audience that you've built. Like, if you got a foundation of people that are coming back again and again and again, you want to keep feeding those guys. And then that will just be a sort of a natural effect of, just sort of grassroots growth from those guys talking about it. Hey, I got my books from Tom and it's cool. And then, people will be like, oh, what's Tom and what's this book? And, just small, light. You don't have to flip a switch. You don't have to, jump up steps to grow what you're doing. Simple, small things and consistency is really the survival hack in anything creative. Really, it's not just comics, but anything in creative is just kind of keep going.
Cool, Mr. J.
Yeah, I'm loving what everybody's saying here. I agree with all of it. Especially the 9 to 5. I'm going to be the first one to say that I've hated my 9 to 5. All right, I've done it for 20 years. But you know what? Yesterday's me has protected tomorrow's me. Right? I'm 5 years away from retiring with a pension, and hopefully I can go full time. Right? Hopefully I've built up the war chest enough to go full time. How do you survive? Jeff, you hit it. Even though you didn't get the results you wanted, but it's experimenting, putting yourself out there, taking those risks. Right? Going places where nobody else is going to try to find an audience, to try to stand out. Okay, you were the only comic book exhibitor in a toy show. All right, but you know what? You got to meet that person that has backed every one of your campaign. You got to lock them in, pretty much, right? You got to make them your ambassador, your evangelizer every time you do something. They're always going to remember that. So, it may not have been a financial win, brother, but you paid dividends. And surviving is building up that war chest where you can take those kind of risks and not, have it become a financial setback if it doesn't go your way. And then on top of that, I feel it's shutting your mouth and listening to the other creators who've been out there, listen to what they're doing, whether it applies to you or not. Just listen to it, learn from the experiences, right? Cherry pick what you can, what you can't, and go from there.
All right, cool.
So,
Yeah, for myself, Jeff, I am that guy. practically every month. I'm running a campaign. I mean, I'm doing them over and over again. But
He's
it's,
even duplicating campaigns now. He's just like, I'm just going to do this one again.
Didn't I back?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that kind of plays into what Tom says. Like, at least people see you all the time. So,
Yeah,
like,
man.
even
Right.
you always know there. Oh, is he making comics? Like, you're motherfucker making comics.
Oh yeah, I'll make comics. And the thing is like, it's funny. Like when I started, I would tell you, I say, oh yeah, I do this for myself. I write this stuff for myself. I create this stuff for myself. Now I'm like, I'm working, like I have a full-time job. I have a day job. That's for my life. And then the whatever I make on Kickstarter, that all is for my artists, right? And I work for them. So whatever I put out, it goes back to them. So it's like whatever, listen, and I encourage it. You're feeding hungry artists around the world. Please continue feeding the hungry artists around the world. They're great people, fantastic people. But listen, but in truth, it's what I enjoy. Some people golf, some people like to ride around in their yachts on lakes. I just make comics. And then I give all the money back to the artists. So there you go. That's how I'm surviving. All right, Mr. J, what do you got?
All right. We mentioned it a few moments ago with the convention. It was brought up by Jeff. George is going to be at C2E2 in the end of the week. But what is your idea of a small convention? Is it the local church basement con? Is it 10,000 people? Right? What is too big of a convention for you?
All right, cool. George, you're up.
What is, you mean like as far as size goes, how many people show up at the convention?
How do you judge a small con? And I don't want to knock small cons. Small cons, I feel, are the places where you get to practice your pitch. You get more one-on-one time with potential customers, right? And they could be a lot more cost effective.
Yeah,
so how do you judge a small con?
I think it's that, right? It's the cost, right? The cost of the table. I think it's is it a 1 day show? Is it a 2 day show? Is it a 3 day show? Is it a 4 day show? Like, you know what I mean? Like the amount of days that you're going to be at the convention, that determines how large that convention is, right? Like how many people show up to the convention, how it's being advertised. If Reed Pop is doing it, it's probably a big convention, right? You're talking about Emerald City Comic Con, C2E2, New York Comic Con, right? Those are big. The fan expos. Those are big conventions. To me, those are the big ones, right? Where you have one in every state. And it's the Dallas Fan Expo. It's the Philly Fan Expo. And then the small conventions are the ones that are local to me. Like even Carbonaro now at that point, what the Big Apple Comic Con used to be, that's shrunk down a bit. He does like 1 day shows and things like that. I know there are a couple of guys here in New York out on Long Island that put a few shows together and stuff like that. So to me, those are the small ones. And then the big ones are the ones that are, that a big corporation owns just a bunch of conventions. I know Wizard, remember Wizard used to have conventions in every freaking state. I think Fan Expo has become that. So I think that's what, for me, determines what's big and what's small.
I believe they bought Wizard. Fan Expo.
Yeah, I think they did. Yep.
All right, cool. Jeff, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I've only done the one, you know what I mean? I've been to a couple of stuff like that, but kind of like what George was saying, like, is it 3 days? Is it 1 day? Is it, when you were saying a church basement, like, I would love to do I don't know if it would even be considered a convention, but say like a comic book store was having something like that. You know what I mean? Like, at least it's comic book readers going to be there. So like, to me, it's not about size, really. It's more about audience. I've learned from the one convention I've gone to. Because like, yeah, man, people came by and stuff. And it's like, you could tell who was kind of interested in stuff like that. But it's like, they don't even want to hear your pitch, really. Like, they kind of want to be left alone, you feel like. So you almost feel awkward. And then, like Jay said, you got to practice your pitch. So, like, I was getting that in. So that was cool. But like, I don't think there's a convention that's too big that I'd be like, oh, no, there's too many people there. Like, I'm afraid to do it kind of thing. It's more like, can I afford it? Do I have enough comics to sell? Like printed already, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of these guys who print 1,000 each time, like, so sometimes you start running out of your stock and things like that. So like, it's just timing, location. And I also don't drive because of my epilepsy and stuff. So it's like, do I have a ride there? Do I, so all this crap. So it's a lot of stuff for me to take in. But overall, I would say, my idea of a small convention would be, a 1 day thing in one area where everybody leaves at the end. That's a small convention in my mind. Because, like, a big convention, they're bringing freaking trucks in. there's companies you've heard of doing these giant setups and stuff like that. So I guess that's size-wise, that's how I would look at that, you know.
Okay.
No, cool. Hades, what are you thinking?
The one we just did, the weekend just gone, that would be what I'd class as a small con. It was second year, but he doubled in size from the first. It was, you know, it was the one day, but this guy had gone all out. You know, he treated everyone amazing, and we actually did better within that one day than I have done at bigger cons in 2. And
Wow.
the reason for that is, I think, and I don't know what it's like in the States at the moment, but over here is we're having a thing where the bigger the convention, it's more for the clout of the celebrities that are going. It's more for people who are just interested in merch, so they want stickers and so on and so forth. It's not about that. I was at one last year and I came in late, so I got a traders table rather than kind of the small press. So I was separate from everyone else, and it was just by pure luck and location that I did well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That could have went the other way on you. I've been there where it has. So way to be. Good stuff, man.
Yeah. And I did a convention. A lot of people said, "Oh, it's brilliant. You should go." So we went, and mate mine come with me. We set up, and we realized that, you know, because I write for the main side of stuff, and a lot of our stuff's quite dark. So, you know, I'm whipping out, you know, dark blue and grey tablecloths, you know, and that kind of stuff. You know? And then either side of me, I'm like, it's looking quite pink and fluffy, and, you know, you're kind of sitting in the middle, kind of like.
Bro, that was the exact experience I had too. Oh my god!
But you stood out. You stood out, so that's good.
Well,
You ain't lying.
The thing that we had though was there were people who were like obviously queuing for the pink fluffy stuff, and they were stood in front of our table, and you kind of go, if you could off, that'd be amazing, because you're not going to buy from us. Yeah. And then on the second day, because obviously I network while I'm there, we're going to speak to other publishers and stuff. And again, I'd gone for a traders table because we've got more stock this time. I went down on the second day. We're supposed to be there till 5, and a bunch of the other small press people were packing at 1. And they were like, I'm out. So I think sometimes if you can find that sweet in between spot over here, between small and large, you find that kind of, it's quite a difficult spot to find. Yeah, women, we know there's difficult spots to find. So it's one of those things, you know, where if you can find it, then yeah, you know, it'll pay off. But I think the one that we did just the weekend just gone, you know, there were a couple of thousand people there, but he'd done really well with some of the guests, but he'd mixed it together rather than said, you know, this is all these amazing celebrity guests, and we'd maybe got a couple of traders, but he, you know, everyone was treated on par. And you know, but again, it's also who's running it. So that guy who was running that one was the first person 5 years ago, well, nearly 5 years, to the first person to ever put us on a shelf in the, you know, in any comic book shop ever.
Yeah,
right.
You know, and our working and now friendship relationship still exists to today, and you know. He messaged me and said, you know, it was a good success. We're going to do a couple more. And I just sent him a message back saying, whatever you're doing, I'm there.
Nice.
You know?
Nice.
So, yeah, it depends. I think sometimes the bigger it gets, you can get lost in the noise of whatever's going.
Yeah. It's funny to Hades' point. Like, you know, you guys were talking about keep doing your campaigns. Don't stop doing your campaigns. The conventions work the same way sometimes. If people see you there every year or every time that convention is on, they kind of be like, what do you got now? Like what's new? And they want to buy you because you start building that fan base, you know. It almost works the same like you're talking about campaigns. Well, like just keep putting them out there, just keep doing these things, I guess. Is what I'm saying.
You're 100% right. However, when we talk about like what Jeff's experience was, we all know Jeff's not going back to ToyCon to do that again.
Yeah,
So,
definitely not. But
work, right?
to George's point, everyone there that was like in my little area knew each other from other conventions, and they were all telling me about all these other
It
conventions.
happens.
Yeah,
So
bro.
that's what he's talking about too. So it
happens.
goes both ways.
Yeah.
None of us are
Yeah.
ever gonna do toy convention again,
Right.
but now when I do other conventions, I'll see them again. You know, so that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So part of the trick is it's been gone over here is it's not really even the size of the con that matters. It's who is your theoretical attendee base, because if you go to a big con or a small con and it's just littered with movie stars, the people that are coming are there for the movie stars for the most part, and so you're now having to compete with whoever happens to be over in that zone. Whereas if you're going into a con and there's a whole bunch of comic book people and maybe there's like a couple of Power Rangers or something, right? We can compete with that, but we can't compete with like Chris Evans and Doctor Who people and that kind of stuff. So you kind of have to look at
some of these.
you kind of have to look at the con and be like, okay, who are the guests? And usually it's separated, like media guests and like comic guests. And usually media guests are like, oh, there's like 20 people. And then comic guests are like, oh, there's like 4 people. And, if the comic guests aren't big, if it's not like, Chris Claremont or Frank Miller or something, if they're just sort of like local guests, then 90% of your attendee base at that con is coming for your superstar
The famous
people,
people.
your
Yeah.
actor people.
Yeah.
And so it'll be a much harder sell. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's a much
That's
harder
totally
sell.
what I was up against.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So for me, I've done like every size of show there is. I have done single day shows where, 50 people showed up. I've done 2-day shows, 3-day shows with like a couple thousand people. I've done San Diego. I've done New York Comic Con. I've done everything. And the only thing that I can tell you is it really depends on who is coming to the con. And that's where you really, really have to kind of do your homework. Certainly you can, especially if it's local, like with Jeff, it's local, it's easy. You just go home at night. There's no hotel, easy stuff.
Yeah.
You can take some extra chances with, but if you're traveling somewhere, and I keep seeing all these new people like, man, I live in Florida. I'm going to travel to Emerald City. I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like nobody knows who you are, dude. You're going too far, too fast.
That's a 5-day drive, bro.
Yeah. So
Is that what they do? They just drive all their stuff out there? Because that would be my next question is like, how do you get all your fucking comics? Because I don't even have that many comics. And like, I see people there with like 30, 40 comics. So like, that's a lot. Like, if you ship it there, if you drive it there, like there's no cheap way to get it there. Like, what is the trick?
That's why this is what I tell people is wherever you are, there is probably 6 or 7 cons within a 2 to 3 hour drive of you every year. And you need to just flood yourself into those local places, build yourself a foundation of convention, build yourself a foundation of people. Like George was just saying, if you keep coming back to these local places, people, oh, you were here last year. Yeah. And you can build that, and it's close and it's easy. And then you can just start to slowly move yourself out. Okay, 4 hours out. Okay, 6 hours out, whatever it is. And just get better at your craft of conventioning before you start going, I'm going to New York Comic Con because I think that's, you're wrong. You are wrong. I guarantee you're wrong if you are new.
Practice.
Yeah. Get your practice in first.
That first person that came by that table, like I didn't realize how unprepared I would be, even doing podcasts and pitching and stuff like that. That first person, I was just kind of like, it was so bad. I bet, like, I can't even imagine hearing it again back to myself. But well, I mean, it was definitely awkward.
Even I've been doing this for 14 years. I still don't have pitches for everything that I do. I have really simple sort of like, hey, come here and look at my stuff. I'm not great at like the pitch, even after doing this for 14 years. I'm not a salesman guy, right? So so my pitch is I mean, I get to the pitch, but for me, I generally kind of key in on the person. Like if they're wearing something that I think I could draw them to, like, oh, you like Jaws? Like, look, I have a shark book. Like, come here.
Dragon Ball Z costume.
That's it. So that's one of the tricks for cons. And here's the other thing, like Jay said at the beginning, if you're doing small shows and there's like 1,000 people, 2,000 people, you're going to have way more time to talk to these guys, and you have way more opportunity to sort of win them over at these smaller cons. So again, that's how you build that fan base, is if you go to a con where you can be like, hey, I make a shark book and I'll be back next year with issue 2. That guy will be waiting for issue 2. He'll come back and he'll be like, dude, where's issue 2? Sometimes it takes a few runs at it. But again, if it's local and it's easy, you can take those runs and you can build over time.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, a lot of my audience is only online, so it's like I need to get in person. So I have to do it that way. Like, because, you know, there's comic book stores, but like I said, I can't really, you know, pay for Ubers to every comic book store in town every time I want to go drop off a comic or something. Like, it's a lot of money. It's just like, man. But a convention, you just see it. But I was also expecting, like you guys said, like, you know, a couple thousand people, something like that. Because my dad, you know, he's like, how many people are going to be at the convention? He Googled it, and it said there were going to be 15,000 people, and I bet there wasn't even 500 fucking people, bro. It was so bad. Like, maybe a day, maybe there was a couple
Ask
hundred.
me because I'm aware of ToyCon.
Yeah.
It's not
See,
the
I
place
should have.
for-
It was so. It was just whatever.
Randy's run a few conventions, right, Randy?
Yeah, I ran them for over a decade. Yeah, but mine have always been small shows, because for me, small shows are where it's at. It's where you get that one-on-one and you're able to talk to people. And I throw a Saturday show, for example, in a farmer's market, take over half of their atrium and their community room, and charge $50 a table, and have my friends in and give them a table. Anybody that was local working in the area. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But I've seen a lot of these conventions are evolving pretty hard as less and less people are reading American comics. You know, I was just at a Grand Rapids con. It's a great con. They treat me like a king, literally. And I moderate a few panels for them, and got to moderate a panel with Howard Mackey, which was a lot of fun. But and other things there, they treat me exceptionally well. But the majority of their guests were anime voice artists, and so the majority of the people that were there were cosplaying with anime characters. Right. And you know, the only media star they had there was Nana Visitor, that was from Deep Space Nine. Yep. But I was there, tucked back in the far corner, away from the anime guests, with Brett Blevins, between Brett Blevins and Bob Hall, which was great. And Howard Mackey was there, and George's Jante was there as well, who's been doing a lot of Mandalorian and Buffy the Vampire Slayer material. And it was a good time, but the crowd, you could tell, wasn't primed for comics per se. You know, there were a lot of people buying a lot of stuff, and a lot of folks walking by going, "What's that?" You know, a lot of people passing by Brett's table going, "Oh, did you do Death of Superman? I've got, 5 copies of that book sitting at home," that kind of thing. But and there was a while there where some of the big pros were incredibly frustrated and sitting there, not getting any business and not feeling well. But it did turn out to be it's always a good show. Grand Rapids Con is always great, especially the one in November. But I love putting on little one-day shows. There's nothing like it. And there's a bunch of one-day, there's usually a one-day show once a month down in Detroit, where I call it, it's not really a comic show, but they have more comic dealers there than what you see at the 2 and 3 day shows. It's an old paper show to me. You go in and you've got guys selling old comics, old pulp magazines, old, movie press kits, just the most oddball stuff, which is great. I love going to those shows because you never know what you're going to find. And as well as old paperbacks and, just the stuff that I want to see. But nothing like running a one-day show. I always tell folks that they should try at one point or another. Just find a nice venue and set up some tables, invite your friends in, find some retailers, charge them, and don't overcharge them for a table, especially if you don't know who's going to come in. But I used to charge $50, and we used to have, and $5 at the door. We used to have a hell of a time. So we stopped doing that during the bug. I got invited to do one up in Saginaw, which is about a half an hour north of where I live. And it was so jammed. It was incredible. It was the first show that's been up in that area in who knows how long. And we were literally shoulder to shoulder for the whole show. It was just a crazy good time. So you never know. But for me, the one-day shows are the best, because you get that one-on-one, like Tom was talking about, and you get that intimacy, and I move more, I sell more at the little one-day shows. So
cool. I mean, I don't know, for myself, shows shows are fun. They're nice, but
They're all
What a
right.
liar.
they're all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
look,
you hate shows. You hate shows, bro.
listen, man, I've done a lot of them,
I
bro.
know.
You know, George knows. He's been in a
Yes.
lot of them with me. Like, you
Yes.
know, we've done a lot of shows. I mean, I've driven out to Kentucky. I've driven down to Florida. I've flown out to California, Vegas. I mean, Chicago. You know, we've done tons of shows. We did San Diego for like 8 years running. You know, we done New York Comic Con when it first started, right? Like the first 3 or 4 years we were there.
When it was still February. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were also doing remember they were doing the anime thing, and they had like a separate anime show. We were doing those. All right, hold on. I got somebody coming in.
Hello.
Right.
What's up, Ray?
Hey there.
Sorry I'm late to the party. I just got to start by saying I'm appalled at the lack of facial hair. Why is everybody chopping the beards off? What's going on here?
I'm bringing my bag.
It's the baby face era.
It's going to be warmer out. That's what it is. Don't want to
I
sweat.
guess the warmer weather, that makes sense.
There you go.
Some people
So,
holding strong here with the beards, though.
And you're not one to be talking about facial hair.
Look at the guy comes in clean
You have
shaven,
no idea.
talking
Look,
shit.
look, look. All
Oh,
the-
yeah. He's sweet,
My head
man.
is all face.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Nice. So DM, real quick, introduce yourself.
Ray Jameson. I have a new comic coming out. It's my first comic ever called The Madcaps. It's a 3-issue miniseries, medieval fantasy themed, about 4 friends in the wrong place at the wrong time. The whole thing takes place over one night. And shout out to Philip Russert and Philbo Publishing for taking a chance on me and getting this book off its feet.
Nice.
All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, shows are cool. It's just, you know, I'd rather go on vacation. Seriously, I'd rather just go on vacation. You know? What I'm looking to do like anywhere from 8 to 12 campaigns this year. It's enough. I don't need to go to any damn shows.
I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it. You got a full plate. Tom's got a full plate. Upset that he's not coming to New York Comic Con, but you know, whatever. You know, we were gonna have a party out here. George knows. You know, I got him smashed at New York Comic Con. I've never seen anybody drink.
I'll just
more whiskey
FaceTime while you're
at an
having the
event.
party. I'll FaceTime from here, and it'll be like I'm there.
There you go.
Yeah, I was.
You pretend to get drunk as you're drinking ginger ale, like classic Bruce Wayne.
That's exactly what I do. That's my go-to, bro.
Brother.
I-
Ray, George told me you get hammered.
I stopped.
Dude,
I
exactly.
stopped drinking at shows the last time Marvel paid for booze. That's how long ago it's been. Yeah.
Ouch.
If you're gonna drink on anybody's
Medicine
tab,
for your feet. You know, you're on your feet almost 14 hours, man. You need to make sure that they're not giving you as much pain at the end of the day. So I'll definitely fire the whiskey up. Plus, it's a great networking tool. You know, hey, you know,
Yeah.
come on the booth, have a drink, and then you know you start rocking and rolling, right? Cross pollination.
Get to cross the line between or divide out and see who's the workaholics and who's the alcoholics.
Yeah.
It's a filtering system.
That's how you do it, right? That's how you do it. I'm so used to doing the big shows that a 75,000 person show is a small show for me. And the smaller shows, the local church.
of those 150,000 people, how many hands did you shake? About 10, I know.
None.
Go ahead.
No.
Eh.
Pound, bro. Pound. Fist bump all day, baby.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, if I don't know, you know, what nose you stuck your finger in. Come on, man. No, but you know, sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't, right? New York Comic Con, I killed it. DC Awesome Con, it blew up in my face, right? If it's a small local event, right? The local church basement con, again, I don't say that as a knock, right? I'm just trying to give an idea, a concept. I got no problem doing those shows, right? If they're small, they're close to home. It's a 1 day, it's a 2 day thing. It's a half-hour drive, cool. But I have done the drives too, right? I'm from New York to Orlando, that's 18 hours. From New York to Chicago for C2E2, that's a 12+ hour drive. From New York to Dallas, that's a 27-hour drive. right? From New York to Boston, that's a 4-hour drive. George, I'm going to go up to Plastic City. You're going to do that,
Yeah,
right?
I'm going there.
Yeah. So, but that for you, you're closer, right? I'm on the other end of New York.
How do you think I feel? Jesus Christ.
See, but Haydes, I want to go. I really want to do the London Supercon.
Yeah, I want to go
right?
out there too.
For me, it's cost effective. It's not cost effective, but it's something different, right? How many people can I meet? Who knows if I go there and I may meet that one artist that I lock in with, that that it could be the lifer. Is that something that I'm willing to take a chance on? Yeah.
Jay, what do you think the DC one blew in your face? What do you think happened out there?
All right. So they said it was 75,000 people. It did not feel like 75,000 people. When you're doing these events, right? You can tell. You know how floor space gets filled up. You know how they set it up, stuff like that. They were charging for premium location booths, and that's one of the things that really pissed me off. The way the convention center in DC was set up, there were 3 main escalators that led down into the show floor. And I was in row 8 by the first escalator where they were going to let everybody in once they opened up the doors. What they didn't tell you is, okay, once that initial wave went in, they opened up all 4 other escalators. So what was the point of me paying that premium price for that location, right? Everybody else was entering through all of the other. So it was like, that blew up on my face with that.
Yeah, but isn't Awesome Con one of those ones that does like all the movie star people?
It is one of those. Yeah, they had a lot of Star Trek people. Yeah.
Back to the Future cast, I think, was there too, right?
The which ones?
The Back to the Future cast, I think.
Well,
they were there.
this year I wasn't there. This year I meant last year. I was there in June.
Last year.
And that's another thing. That was a quick turnaround. They went from June to February.
Wow.
Yeah. So whatever. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, you take your risk.
All right, cool. Tom. Well, hold on. Daphne, if you could just pull up the first campaign, that'd be nice.
You got a producer happening?
Yeah.
I got a producer in the house. Yeah.
Nice.
Dang. I keep pitching her a show because she's got her cat ears on. I keep pitching her the show, 2 cats, 1 show. One of these days we're going to do it, I think.
2 cats, 1 show. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't like, though, that he's having a relationship with his producer. Wait till his wife finds out. It's going to be a very awkward moment, man.
Okay. All right, Tom. You're up.
Yeah. We just hit 250 today. 250. And
nice.
couple of decent backers popped in right before the show came on, so that was good. This is issue 23 of our ongoing superhero series for Critter. This was the first book I ever wrote in order to kind of figure out, like, how do you write a comic book? What is a comic book? Can I even do this? And we've been now doing this for 14 years, so we're finally getting back to the book, focusing on it kind of all year long. We're going to do another issue towards the end of the year. But this is issue 23 of volume 6. All the volumes are available. So if you're not familiar with the book, all of the previous books are available, whether you want trade paperbacks or if you just want to try that series out. We got a quick catch up. You can just get the most recent 3 issues. We've got 4 stretch goals unlocked. 17,000 will unlock the next one. There's some of the interior by Omar and Hedwin Zaldivar, who are absolutely killing this book. I can't believe the luck of finding these guys and having them be available. So they're doing the whole arc for us. Looks fantastic. We keep things really simple. They always have a general book, which is your logo style book. Every price that you see here also is including your shipping. So it's $25 flat. That's it. There's no extra cost for shipping. We do a lot of variant covers. We've got 10 on this campaign from all different types of artists. Fabio Samao, M.R. Gunn, Keith Garvey, Jose Luis, Narciso Sousa. So there's our Mean Girls poster tribute to the 20th anniversary by Narciso Sousa. Joel Gomez came over from Coffin Comics and did Murder for us. This is Terry Parr, a new guy I found who did an X-Men 97 little homage with our pillow fight cover. So
Now, Tom,
Terry's awesome.
Tom, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do mean to interrupt you.
Yep.
I got a question for you.
Yep.
You do a lot of these campaigns. You use a lot of artists, and
Yep.
I mean, I filed my taxes for last year, right? And I cried at how much money I spent on art. Now, just a ballpark number. Obviously I don't want an exact number. A ballpark number. What are you spending annually on art?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know.
Is it that?
I don't even know. Don't even know.
Like I said, ballpark.
I mean,
60K.
Plus again, because sometimes we have 10 covers, sometimes we have 4, so it's pretty variable.
Right.
But in this case, we had 10 covers. Average price.
Well, I meant annually.
Yeah, but I mean, I got to figure out a campaign, and then you can kind of stretch it out from there. I mean, if the average price is, I don't know, $300 on the average, that's $3,000 for the art, just for the covers. And then your interiors are going to be, anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, depending on what you got to pay for those guys. So, estimate, let's just call it $5,000 a book for art times, 8 books. If you do 8 campaigns, so roughly that.
Right.
Somebody else can do the math.
40K.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
Gotcha. All right.
So that's on a rough average. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cool. I was just curious because I was horrified at my numbers. So I was only imagining like what you're spending.
Yeah, that's why you can't look at it like that. You have to just look at it like you can't. I spent this much on this book. That's it. That's all I need to know now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll worry about the rest later.
I got you. So I'm sorry. So continue.
No, you're good. You're good. Everybody can check it out. I mean, we've got merch, we've got pins, we have the 1 of 1 Joel Gomez package there. We did do action figures for the campaign. So we've got some of these left. There's 2 versions of Critter. So if you're a toy collector, I'll take these to ToyCon, Jeff. This is how I get in. This is how I make ToyCon work for me, is I can make some toys. We have toys available. And then of course there's all the Big Dog Ink stuff. Like if you just want to dive into some of the other books, fantasy, superheroes, westerns, horror, historical fiction, whatever, we have got all these other books that you can grab onto and try out some other things as well. And then all the new books, all the new variants are also available in holofoils and metals. So if you want to get super fancy, we have super fancy stuff available as well. And then there's our shark book that we were talking about. That'll be our first ever OGN, original graphic novel, coming out next year. Next year will be our 15-year anniversary. So we're gonna do some interesting new things next year, as well as what we would normally be doing. So yeah. So here's all the stuff. You can get them as holofoils or metals. All that stuff is printed to order too. So if we get orders for 27, then that's what we're making. That's the baseline anyway. We get comps to the artists and so on, but. Yeah, we keep them very, very limited, which our fans like that limited stuff. And it comes out cool. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Nice. How many days you got left on that?
1 week. We end next week, next Sunday at 11:45 Eastern time.
Nice. All right, cool.
How you doing?
Now, we got to go on that over-under for 20, though. All right.
Oh, it's under. It's under.
Damn it.
I'm telling you, it's under.
I'm rooting for you, Tom.
You can root. I'm not gonna say don't root for it, but it's gonna be under. I expect to land somewhere around 19. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. George, what do we got here? We got Russ.
So Russ 5377 is a character I created way back in 1999. So this year, I'm actually celebrating the 25th anniversary of creating the character, and what I'm doing to commemorate that is I actually put a 25th anniversary edition volume of the graphic novel, and it's being published through ASAP Imagination. Thank you very much, Haydes. Appreciate you. So the book is on pre-order now. You guys can order the book now. It's releasing next month in May 7th. Will be the release of the book, I believe. I think that's correct. So you can pre-order the book now. I also have the digital. Hayes was talking about digital, And the digital version of the book, issues 1 through 6, is if you go to anyoneworld.com, you guys can pick it up there. And that's where I also have, obviously, the graphic novel. I'll have the 6 issues, the digital issues, and also a book that I'm writing for Haydes called Dead of Night, which will be on there. And but yeah, so that's where you can get that. But this particular link right here is specific to the for the pre-order of the book. Normally, you would do a Kickstarter campaign or a crowdfunding campaign for something like this. But I figured, let me go old school. Let me do the pre-order thing, and hopefully people will hit the link and get a copy of the book. I will have some on hand as well. After obviously the release, I'll be doing a few shows, starting with Plastic City in July. Well, I will have these on hand, so you can always pick them up there. I'll sign them for you there. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I can't wait for the book to come out. This particular cover was done specifically for that. Actually, JD, Rosario, I actually met the artist who did this cover at New York Comic Con.
Nice.
So yeah, so he was walking the floor, Argentinian artist. He came up, we were kind of chatting, we were chatting up in Spanish, and I was like, "Where you from?" He's like, "Argentina." I was like, "Oh, you do art?" Yeah, and he showed me his portfolio. I was like, "We got to do something. We got to work on something," and this came out of that. So big shout out.
So that was this year?
Santiago. Yeah, that was this year.
Very cool, man.
Well, last year, yeah, October, last one.
The last one that just passed.
Yeah. So big shout out to Santiago. He did an amazing job. So I'm excited about it, man. I can't wait.
I like that.
Nice. Now, okay, so this is just a pre-order. So you're not going to do a campaign.
No, not for this book. I may do a campaign for another book that I have coming out, but for us, it's going to be a pre-order.
Okay.
And that's my website. You guys can go there. That's the other anyoneworld.com. That's the website where you guys can pick up the digital copies if you like digital comics. I prefer holding the book in my hand. So yeah. So this is the website. My YouTube channel's on here. You need a dose of this. Get your meds. Where I interview writers of comics and we talk about the art of writing comics, because I think that we have a lot of podcasts about artists and how they create the books artistically, but we don't have too many podcasts about writing comic books and how that happens and the magic that's there. But
damn right,
I decided to do my own. Yes, I decided to do my own podcast on that. So yeah, check that out. And then obviously the Adventures of Wonder Duck Part 2 is coming out. Should have that out in the fall, hopefully. So nice. I'm working on a few things.
We should publish our scripts and call them art books.
Nice.
But it's just our scripts.
Yeah. I like it.
Hey, listen,
writers
for a while.
I'm sorry,
for a while I was I was doing handwritten covers, and I was selling those.
Handwritten covers.
I would. Yeah. So because
Nice.
I write prose by hand, and what I would do is on the cover, it was lined like a regular piece of paper, and I would just write out the story on that, and it was like the sheet. And I sold like 50 of those things. I just got tired of doing it.
I took that to another. Yeah, I took that to another level. I would write on the covers, but I would write it in the shape of the character. So when it was done, it would be
nice,
like a silhouette
cool.
of a character or whatever. Yeah,
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
I was thinking just like print out your script, and before you do your final draft on it, make all your notes on a printed out script, make photocopies of it, and then sell the 7 or 8 page hand edited script of whatever book you got, right?
No, I wrote it all by hand, and then I would have to like scan it so I had a copy so I could transcribe it later.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Wow. Holy.
But I like Tom's idea is freaking. That's a great.
Tom's idea is actually.
They were very popular, but just like JD, it was like, holy fuck, this just takes so much time to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So recently, I sold the strangest thing ever to do with my comics, and it was someone wanted the proof of one of them. They're like, can I buy that physical proof off you? How much you want for it? How much you want for it? And I didn't know what to say. I had no idea. So he said, I think it was like 80 or 90. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Whatever.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I was like, I'm not, So then we went out for drinks because it's like one of my friends and stuff. But he just clicks all my shit. And he was just like, I really want one, man. And I had 3 different covers for that one. And I was like, which one you want? And I wasn't going to give him a specific one. So I was like, it was cool. So I was like, fine. But I never do, because if I just take the sticker off, you don't even know it's like, you know. But whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, well, lucky me, I guess. That was a good night of drinking on free, you know. So.
So Jeff, what do we got here?
All right, so this is the Elf with No Name. It says 1 and 2 because you can get both issues, but it's really the second campaign for the second issue. Last issue, we got about 224 backers on this comic. It's a spinoff of Magic Powder, which is my main series. It's the first comic series I ever wrote. So this is the cover of the first issue of the Elf with No Name. It's based on like the Outlaw Josie Wales. Right here, the one we're showing on the screen right here is kind of based on Red Dead Redemption. It's a cover by Ignacio D'Amelio. Just he hit me up. He's like, "Can I do a cover for you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know," and we already have the GTA homage for Magic Powder. So he's like, "Can we do a Red Dead one?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, go ahead." And he nailed it. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, he did. It's good.
Yeah, it's freaking. Yeah, I love it. And so this is the interiors, and it's all done by another guy named Jeff Fulsham, and he colors it, he inks it, he does everything, letters it. It's great stuff. You know, I mean, I found him luckily on Twitter one day. You know, he was like looking for a gig, and I was like, you know, I've seen his other art. He has it's called Osirian Tales. He has his own comic that he does, and he writes and draws and everything.
That main character reminds me a lot of like a good guy version of Tex Hex from the cartoon Brave Star.
Oh
Oh, damn. Okay. That's the name I haven't heard in a long time. That's hilarious.
Deep cut, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
I have good memories for weird stuff like that. Sometimes, not too often, but it does come out as useful, but not for really fruitful things. But I'm glad it worked out here.
Yeah, this is the business for that kind of thought, you know what I mean? But so this is our variant cover here, and it's done by an artist named Flops, and he's out of England. And so I was just like, I didn't really have an idea. I kind of have a trouble coming up with cover ideas sometimes. So I just knew I wanted a variant, and I knew I wanted him to do it because he kind of brings his own audience sometimes. And so I was like, yeah, man, you know, do you have any idea for like a fantasy Western kind of idea and stuff like that? He's like, oh yeah, man, I'll come up with it. And this is what he came up with. And I love it. You know, it's a fun little idea. But the first cover he did for me was on Magic Powder, and it's the Pulp Fiction variant. And you know, I think it was probably my highest selling cover. That's definitely variant cover, but it might be my highest selling cover period ever. So I was like, I have to bring him back into the fold. And yeah, this is what he got for the Elf with No Name. I didn't want, you know, another because the thing with the Pulp Fiction cover, like, first of all, I just wanted the Pulp Fiction cover. He made her completely naked. So that wasn't really my idea. So when I was at the convention and little kids were coming by, I'm like, man, I gotta hide my best cover, you know? I'm like, so like, yeah, that kind of sucked. So for this one, I didn't really want something as racy or anything, even though it does sell. You know, it's just not as good for public consumption, I guess. You know, because the toy convention was so many little kids. But anyway, yeah. So right now we're doing pretty good with the Elf with No Name. Damn, we just got another backer. Hey-o. So we're at 129 backers. Right now, the way I look at it is, do you guys go to your dashboards on these things and look like the project follower numbers and follow all that and stuff? So right now we're at 216 followers. Last issue we ended at 212 followers. So I feel like, you know, we're gonna at least reach what we did last issue, but I think we're gonna kill it. We have 26 days left. My last issue of Magic Powder got 355 backers, which was our record now. So, you know, I'm just trying to keep getting those kind of numbers. For this, I want to get around 250. If we can get 250 for Magic or Elf with No Name, that'll be our new Elf with No Name record. So that's cool. I don't expect the exact same numbers because Westerns aren't as big as, like, you know, gangster movies and stuff like that. So I don't think the audience is as big. But, you know, we get a lot of people that want to be characters and stuff. The first couple pages, if you look on the campaign page, you'll see like a goblin. She's blue, and then you'll see like a Gorgon with her snake hair, and they're both like actual people who wanted to be in the comics, and so they bought a character tier. And then also on page 6, you'll see like 3 dwarves at a bar, and those are also guys who have also bought their own characters, but they're also in Magic Powder and bought their own characters. So, like, you know, some of my audience likes to be in the comics, which is really cool. It helps fill in the lazy days on the campaign. You know, you get like $100 boost, stuff like that. So it's cool. But like, yeah, we got $5 digital copies, $7 physical copies, and then, you know, it goes up from there. If you want a name in the comic, it's like $30, but you also get all the covers and everything like that. We haven't hit any.
Is the first story arc?
Say that again.
How many issues is the first story arc? You're on issue 2 right now.
Yeah, we're gonna do 6, like, because Magic Powder's also first arc is gonna wrap up with 6, so we're gonna do 6 for the first arc, and I already know how it's gonna like wrap up and everything, and then. Cool. Yeah, and then we'll see, you know, how the artist feels about going forward and stuff like that before, you know. But yeah, so far we're playing. Trailer,
I think it'd be really cool if you did a cover of the what's the band? America, Horse with No Name. but it's
Okay.
an Elf with No Name. I think that'd be
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, that'd be actually.
You got Silverado. Silverado had a few different DVD covers.
Okay, hell yeah.
The
There's
Outlaw
so
Josie
many.
Wales.
Yeah, well, that's what this one's supposed to be. The first one. That's the
Yeah.
Outlaw Josie Wells.
No, I'm
Okay.
thinking.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I really screwed up. I meant
Like-
Jeremiah Jones with.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one where you see that GIF all the time with the guy with the who is it, Robert Redford?
Yes, Robert
Yeah.
Redford. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
hell yeah. Nah, I love it. And like this one, so like it says right here, they're going to Dwarfwood, which is obviously a little based off of Deadwood, which is one of my favorite things ever. So, I had to give a little shout out on there. And you're gonna see a dwarf that's kind of based on Al Swearingen. So, keep your eye on that if you're into Deadwood. Yeah. So
dude, good stuff.
Yeah, I was just because the main idea of Magic Powder and the whole universe is like mixing everything I like into one big ass pot, pot and seeing what comes up. Because there's so many gangster stories that take place in the real world, and I was like, well, I got to create my own things if I want to tell my own stories. So.
All right, cool, nice. All right, we're waiting for the next one. The producer's coming. She got it. Here it is.
Hello. Yeah, so this is actually our return to Kickstarter with this book. So it's the Complete Points of Villainy. 3 years ago, we started the company with the prose version of, half of this, which was Points of Villainy, Points of Virtue. So this, is half of that. And then because it was the cheapest option to us at the time, it was like, right, let's start with prose. We did one comic and one book. One of our other titles, and then this is our return to it. So over the last few years, we've expanded our world. We brought out the comics, we brought out different titles, we've kind of come up with our whole timeline. There you go. That's actually one book, Points of Villainy and Virtue. It's like a flip book.
Cool.
And then so what we did is we took the 16 stories in the book, we took 12 and we started to turn them into comics, and the Complete Points of Villainy is the first 6. So you can see there, each story has a different artist. So we've got Faithless Man, Tailwind 2. So all these different perspectives of this kind of catalyst of this world. And we wanted each one to be a different artist, so you could get a different feel, different tone, stuff like that. So it was really nice to come back to Kickstarter with that, So what we've done is obviously you get the digital version of the graphic novel, physical. So even though I am in the UK, we're all over. So the lady who co-wrote it with me way back when, which you're about to bring a picture up there. Well, that's not her actual picture. She looks better than that. But she's based in Canada, so shipping's not an issue. There you go. Shipping's not an issue. But you can obviously get the single version of the first comic to kind of dip your toe in. What we did, which was quite interesting with the first issue as well, is it's 2 stories, and what we did is we included a piece of music on the inside cover, which was written specifically for the book. So you can dip your toe in, scan the piece of music, get that for free, and then that idea that you can be a bit more immersive and just enjoy that. And if that's a jumping off point, then great. And then there's artwork of a bunch of our characters. We've got there's our titles there, so you can get the digital versions of those, or we do physical if you're a physical backer. So we do like gift packs, stuff like that. There's some merch there, so obviously the pendant is quite important. And then we're bringing out all new trading cards as well, because we've got a few, especially that I was giving out at conventions and throwing in with orders. And then we've got the one-shot Hole. The interesting thing about Hole actually is it became a one-shot for the specific reason that the entire issue was drawn in first person. So every single panel you see through her eyes, so you kind of live it in real time with her. And then because we've got the Anyone world and all the amazing creators that come through there, we have an Anyone world tier, so you can get digital versions of the first issue of Russ, first issue of Path of the Pale Rider from Laura Capatera, Dre from Brutal Planet Comics has donated there you go, donated the first issue. So you can unlock those as well. So not only do you get to delve into that world, you can also dip your toe into all these other worlds as well. So yeah, it's nice to kind of come back to Kickstarter, and kind of reconnect with some people and meet a bunch of new people and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good. It's good. We're happy to be back and doing it. It's cool.
Cool. Now, what were your biggest difficulties transitioning from prose to comics?
Wording, really, because obviously, if you use descriptive, I was quite lucky because I had already written Messiah issue 1, so I was okay with things like, scripting and paneling and understanding it that way. Laurie was new to comics at that point. And then when we were transferring the book over, we went through the 16 stories, and some of them you go, well, that's not going to translate. There's one story about a guy who's trapped in a box. Enjoy that comic of the same 16 panels all the way through of him going, I'm still here,
Some black and white clown makeup.
Yeah. So we were like, what's going to translate, what isn't? And then it was like, because we wanted to keep it to an allotted amount of pages, what's going to get lost and what's not, and what we have to let you decide on. Whereas we would use a long ass description. It's like, it's handed over to you in one word or one speech bubble and hope for the best.
Right.
And it worked fine. Yeah, it was okay in the end.
Gotcha. All right. Now I've written a lot of the Oswald Chronicles originally written in prose, and I'm translating it over to comics. So it's just like, yeah. So whenever I get somebody that does something similar, I always ask. It's always an interesting process having to do that, because you got to like put on a different hat, and it's just like, okay, all right, this entire page is gone, and chopping all this out, and like, okay, it's this and this, and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's always interesting. All right. Okay, let's see who's next.
Drum roll? No drum roll?
There you go.
There we go.
Shadow Kingdom.
So Randy,
well, we shut this campaign down last Saturday, and due to a transaction glitch, I should say, we lost about 40 backers.
Oh
boy.
shit.
Wham.
Damn.
So we've opened it back up again as a storefront while we go back and contact those folks that their transactions didn't quite go through.
Gee.
And to get them on board, as well as to give folks an opportunity to get in on the campaign still. The print file is done, just doing one final look over on the entire thing, and then it goes to the printer. So it's only like 2 weeks away from 2 or 3 weeks, depending upon how long the printer takes, away from getting these copies out of there and rolling. So, but in the meantime, we're going to leave the campaign open. This is the Shadow Kingdom. It's a faithful adaptation of the public domain Robert E. Howard story, really looked at as the first sword and sorcery story, at least the first American sword and sorcery story. It's got all of those great elements in it. It's a Cull story. The artwork is by Russ Leach, who is an incredible English artist who's worked on Doctor Who and Batman for Panini. And like I said, it's a very faithful adaptation to the story. I broke it down and lettered it, and Russ went through and did the artwork on it. Russ always has wanted to do a barbarian story and had the opportunity to do it, and we did it. The actual comic itself is about 70 pages long. Then we put the prose story back behind it. There's a foreword in front by a Howard aficionado named Razor Fist, and then there's an end note by myself in the book talking about the work itself. And I'm really proud of this product. Can't tell you how great it's going to look. Can't wait to see it.
I saw Russ Leach on Philip Russert's an interview by Philip Russert, and just as you describe it, Russ was very passionate about this project, just like you are. You
Yeah.
guys seem to have made combined to make some real beautiful music here, for lack of better wording.
Well, what's really great about this, if you've never read the Howard story is so different from the other the comic adaptions that have been out there. Marvel did one with Roy Thomas and Marie and John Severn, and then Dark Horse did one about 10, 15 years ago. But it didn't hold to the actual story. It just kind of took the plot points and used them. This is the actual story visually told in sequential art form. And like I said, we include the prose story in the back just so you can compare them if you care to. So if you've never read if you've never read any Howard, you're really missing out, especially if you enjoy this type of genre of material, because this is Howard's literal sweat and tears. He spent years putting this story together, writing it down, putting it on a shelf, taking it back off, reworking it, putting it back up. And it took him a couple of years before he had the felt it was at a point where he could send it to an editor. And once he sent it to the editor, Farnsworth at Weird Tales, he snatched it immediately and printed it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
It's really a great story. I can't recommend it enough. Now, all of Howard is really fun reading.
No, it's cool that you guys included it in the back too, because a lot of times when I do, like, say, watch a movie based on a book or anything based on a book, you kind of want to go back and read the book too, just to see what's up. So yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Well, we got the idea from the Ablaze Sumerian books, if you've ever seen those. Only the Sumerian book, if you get the first one of those, the type font on it is so small, you almost have to use a magnifying glass in order to read the thing. But ours is really good. It's already, like I said, it's already done. The print file's already done and laid out, and there's a wonderful little scroll behind it. It looks great. Like I said, I'm really proud of this product. You can run the video if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. Basically gives an overview of what the story is about. In the time before Atlantis sank and the lands of the world were savage and untamed, one man would claim his destiny, leaving his Atlantean tribe behind and throwing off the shackles of Lemurian bondage. He sailed the seas as a pirate captain before seizing his place as a king. And now that he has the throne, how long will he be able to keep it? This is the Shadow Kingdom, the classic sword and sorcery tale by Robert E. Howard, adapted by Randy Zimmerman, with artwork by Russ Leach. Available now at fundmycomic.com.
Hell of a voiceover.
I didn't realize that was your voice the first time I heard it when Russ was promoting it.
Oh, thanks a lot. But it's the story of a man who becomes king and then is told that there's a threat on his throne by a race of shape-shifting lizard people. And that's literally where the urban legends began, is here with this story. With lizard people. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's all there. It's about, it's a 1929 story. It's just classic.
So
it was a real honor to do.
So I guess the mishap, you have all the information for those guys, for those people, for those backers. So
we're tracking them down. We're tracking them down and to find out what happened and where it went. And it was one of those bizarro glitches. Luke's internet wasn't working 100% at the time, and or at that time, because he's in the lower part of Indiana, and he was sending those transactions through, and we're not sure if they didn't go through, if they were refused or what. So we're going to track everybody down and see if you were a part of the campaign and you haven't had an email yet from us. If you were a backer in the campaign, you should double check with your credit card company and make sure that charge has gone through. If not, then let us know and jump back in. But we're tracking everybody down.
Cool. Yeah, plus, I got it, because I got a notification.
We're leaving it open because I had a couple people contact me that went, "Oh man, I'm sorry I missed it."
Yeah. Nice. So. All right, cool.
we'll see how it goes. We're already really happy with the amount that we've got, and just the reception that we've received has been. In fact, Russ wants to do a lot more, so you can plan on us taking this story as a springboard and doing original tales off of that using these characters. That we've got plans to call it the Atlantean, and probably do 1 or 2 issues a year. Plus, let me share my screen here if I can, just to boast. There we are. There's also a campaign starting with Red Dragon Press out of Brazil, and they're doing
nice.
Portuguese adaptation of the story
Very
for
cool.
their audience. And they tell us their market's a lot bigger than our market, so we'll see.
Cool. Did they pay you a flat fee, or they're paying you a percentage?
Oh no, it's a good percentage, yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool.
But they're real happy. The Red Dragon Press is online. They've done a lot of great books. It's really an honor for them to ask us to be a part of this, because you go through and you look at the other products that they offer, and it's like, wow, we are like really in great company. Some phenomenal stuff.
Nice. No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And more to come. So well, you'll see more campaigns with the Atlantean as we go along. Russ really wants to kick out some products that look like the old Savage Sword of Conan books, so or the magazines. So it'll be fun.
When you talk about those shape-shifting lizard people, it reminds me of the early 90s Conan cartoon. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one.
Dude, you're pulling out some gems, Ray.
I'm watching that right now with my children because I want them watching good stuff and not like post Teletubbies, where Teletubbies looks rough and hard, right? Compared to today's stuff.
It's scary.
Yeah,
No, I remember that. Yeah, that and the Rambo cartoon too. Said.
That one's a little before my time, but yeah, just a tad, not too much.
A lot of elements that Howard used in his other stories have all been scrapped out and pirated for Conan stories. So it wouldn't be surprising if they took the basic.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the basic plot for this. In fact, the first Conan story that was written, that was published in Weird Tales, is actually a scavenged cull story that Howard went through and refashioned.
How about that? Eh? Huh.
So yeah.
All right, that's cool. All right, so Ray, what do we got?
We have the Madcaps launching April 30th. We're in pre-launch, so I can't really show you the page too much. I can share with you how many followers do we have now? It's jumped up. We're at 111 now. It's jumped up another 2 since today.
Cool.
I'm told that's a decent amount, and I believe we talked about this in the past, but I'm told I'm in the right direction. So for the little experience I have, I think I'm doing something in the right direction. But you know what? I'll share my screen. I'll show you the cover. And since the last time I was on here, I actually have another a teaser trailer. Here, I'll show this. I'll show the main cover. Window share. If that can be seen. There we go. So that's drawn by Jimbo Salgado.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Colored by Dan Kemp, who's done over 100 issues of Spawn and Spider-Man during the Civil War era, and Daredevil and Marvel Knights, and very happy with how that turned out. This comic is essentially about four childhood friends getting back together, and there's an incident involving a local drug problem. It's not preachy, so it's not like winners don't use drugs or anything like that. It's just happens to have drugs in the storyline loosely. Mm-hmm. This story is basically, it revolves around an homage of people who long to see their friends again. I think all of us have a little bit of gray in the hair. At least, well, not me. I dye my hair clear, as you can tell. But
I got rid of mine today. I'm no longer gray.
Yeah, under the lights, I definitely have like some in there.
But all of you, I'm sure, have at least one or more friends, a circle of friends. You don't get to see them too much, and when you do get to see each other, it's it could just be seeing each other in a restaurant, and it's not like the shenanigans of the days of old when you were younger, but when you leave that get together, you feel very recharged. So this comic is really an homage to having that caliber of friendship. So this problem occurs, and because their friends are around, well, I don't want to look like a coward in front of my friends. These individuals are not the most powerful thing in the realm. So in fact, in the very first, hey, there's Ellie Cunningham. We drew Damona together on her show Drink and Draw. That's really cool. Anyways, just to summarize it, because their friends are around, well, I need to be a good example to them. I don't want to look like a coward in front of them. You have all of these thoughts, so they're forced into this position. Within the very first issue, 3 of them almost get killed, just to give you a highlight of the gravity of things. They're not like infallible, overpowered individuals. I tried to make it characters that were in somewhat relatable, or you would actually feel like they're in danger. I'll just share this 60-second trailer and then move on from there.
Now, is this a single graphic novel, or is this going to be like a limited series?
3 issues. So this is just issue 1. All of it takes place over one night. This scene here is, we kind of nicknamed it the interrogation. It has 3 of the 4 friends in it, but I'll let it speak for itself. I believe Tom's seen this already.
Would you be able to tell me where you're going to pick up this fresh stuff? No way, man. You could save many lives here. I'd rather die. Oi!
Death is a privilege which you will not be getting today.
Are you crazy? Go for a walk. I can't heal everything our large friend is about to deal out to you. You can either talk to our dwarven friend here, or you can talk to me. The dwarf! The dwarf!
Cool.
Nice.
Like it.
I like that.
I've had a challenge. I wanted to do something fantasy themed, and sometimes comic book and fantasy don't overlap well. So one thing I did, I've almost finished editing it, but I ran a one-shot D&D campaign, which is a prequel leading up to the first issue. It's the equivalent of Rogue One, just before A New Hope. And I got voice actors from California that helped out with it, pro D&D players, and I also had some comic book artists comic book writers that like tabletop RPGs, Chris Sahal and Chance Edgarly. Basically, the logic behind why I did this was, if you like fantasy but don't read a lot of comics, well, here's this one shot. If you enjoy it, here's this comic that continues on the story. And for the comic book side, if you're not sure if you want to dabble in the fantasy genre, watch this, and then issue 1 continues on with it.
All right, cool.
But I can't really show too much else because the campaign isn't active yet, but we've got a lot of really cool add-ons, miniatures of all 4 main characters, 20-sided dice, which is modeled after the logo, the title. We've laser engraved wood of the inks to the cover I just showed you, a map of where this all takes place, and then on the comic side, I have variant covers, pinup drawing, sketch covers. Really excited, very, very grateful for Philip Russert and Philip Publishing for taking me on. So at 111 followers now, and I think it'd be really cool. I've got a week to go. I'd like to try and get to 125. I think that'd be a cool goal to attain. So it looks attainable now, that's for sure.
Definitely. So you said 3 issues. You're launching on the 3rd. How many days are you looking to do the campaign for?
Campaign is 30 days. This is just for issue 1. Issue 2, I will begin after the campaign. Just like everybody else, like this is my first one, so financially, this last one, it took me 2 years just because I was very patient. But now that I have a network of all of the artistic talent, it won't take 2 years. I'd like that longest 6 months, but we'll see. Well, it depends how the campaign goes, and I'm pretty sure that's the biggest unknown variable, we'll say.
All right, cool.
I was just going to say, if it's all right, I've just realised on mine, is it possible to go back and play the video on that just before we move on from the Kickstarters and stuff?
Yeah. We'll let's run Jay's, and then we'll go back to yours. I think we're already gonna.
I don't have a video, so I'm good. Yeah, we funded this morning. We picked up what I think maybe 4 or 5 backers since last night. So yeah, we funded New York versus the World, the story about New York City facing zombies. When the apocalypse happened, it took them 15 years to clean out the city. Once they did, they started to let in survivors from everywhere around the world through the walls. But now, can they trust them? And it's pretty much my take on xenophobia, wrapped in a nice zombie package. So it's when you got one group of people on one side of the wall trying to protect their family, and you got another group of people on the other side of the wall looking for a safe place to keep their family. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? And then you wrap it up in a nice zombie package. So if you hate New Yorkers, you can watch them get shredded by the zombies. If you like New Yorkers, you can see them try to survive. It's a win-win no matter what side of the fence you are on. Like I said, we are funded. We're looking to raise the money for the 3rd issue. Issues 1 and 2 are already printed. We got a special gift for returning backers. We got holochrome trading cards. We're doing hard enamel pins based on the logo. If you're new to Unstoppable Comics, you want to jump in, we got the entire digital catalog. It's the best value that's out there. We got some t-shirts that are also coming up. We just introduced our new mascot. She'll be treated like the Crypt Keeper was for Tales from the Crypt. So she's going to be introducing that, and on the inside cover, she's Betsy, the Zombie of Liberty. I
like it.
Thank you. It's Betsy spelled with a Z.
Of course.
Yeah. Named after Betsy Ross, right? We got to keep some old school Americana on there. And this whole thing is pretty much featuring New York City as the main character. So in our first issue, we're headed to Ellis Island. That was the place where the immigrants came when they were registering here in the United States. So we're dealing with that as a quarantine zone. The second issue takes place in Coney Island. The third issue takes place around the Brooklyn Bridge. So we got 20 days to go. Our first stretch goal, we're just under $300 from hitting the first stretch goal, which is going to be another free trading card added to the mix. We got a few more set up. Hopefully we can bang this bad boy out and pick up those numbers.
It looks good, man. I mean, that card there, right there with the 3 covers. I mean, yeah, that doesn't look like anything you were advised to do.
I got a busy fucking day, bro. I got a busy fucking day. You want me to pull the curtain back? You want me to pull the fucking curtain back? Okay. Busy motherfucking day.
I mean, in fairness, he funded with it. So
yes,
we can't really give him too much.
This is true.
Yeah.
With 20 days to go, he's not exactly.
Guys, all right, to peel back the curtain for a second, I had Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I'll let you pick who's who. Dumb is usually the one with the D in his name. What you would call it? They were giving me pointers on what to do with my main image last night, and I did take that into account. I just have not had the chance to work on it.
I just love how JD, of all the times I've been on here, which is not too many, and all the times that I've watched, JD is always ready to jump on you, Jay. It's always amazing. The first time
it's a give and take, brother.
Emotional damage.
But the first time I was on here, JD starts with salutations, brings on Jay. Jay starts talking and starts advertising himself. And then JD kicks him off, says, that's enough of that.
Yeah, listen, he's the brother I never wanted. You know what I'm saying? If I knew anyone, you know, when they were carrying him in the womb, I would have kicked them down the steps. Make sure that would have came out.
Wow.
Oh, great
I
comedy.
said it with love. I said it with love, bro. You know, I said it with love. Now Q kicking me
That's
out.
all right.
Of the,
Mhm.
There you go. Good family fun.
Good
Yeah.
family fun, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very fun. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Cool. All right. So there we go. Tom, your question, please.
My question.
Look,
So,
I gave you a whole day to prepare.
Yeah, I know. So I'm going to ask a cliche question, but I'm going to put a little spin on it. So there's always the thought process that we as indie guys creating our own stuff, we all want to rise the ranks, get up to a certain level, maybe tackle something, in the upper echelon of comics to put our mark on it, or just to have an opportunity at it. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, whatever it happens to be. So the question is if Marvel and DC came calling, but you weren't allowed to do any of the upper echelon characters, you weren't allowed to do the X-Men, you weren't allowed to do Superman, is there a let's call it a B character that you think you'd have an interesting story to tell, something that you've connected with over the years, like, oh, I like that background guy, and I could write a story for him if Marvel and DC came calling? Or if it's not Marvel and DC, maybe it's something a little external, like is it Spawn, is it Power Rangers, is it something bizarre out in the ether?
All right, that's cool. Jeff, you're up, sir. What are your thoughts?
That's a tough one, honestly, because a lot of the times, people ask me this question, I'm like, usually like, I only write my own stuff usually. So let's see here. I mean, I used to say Dick Tracy, but now they've already brought that back, and there's not really any side character I think is interesting enough to have their own in that. What else they got going on nowadays? I don't know. Maybe a spin-off of like, one of Batman's like really like lower, like not Falcone, but like one of their mafia type guys and their rise in the ranks in Gotham to where even before Batman was around type thing. But they already did that with the TV show. So I don't know. I feel like I don't really, I'm not really a superhero guy either. So I'm trying to think of like non-superhero things. Like Rick and Morty's got a comic, right? Like I'll do a Jerry comic or something. I don't know. Bob's Burgers got a comic. I'll do some Bob's. Like, let me think of Bob's Burgers character I'd like to do a spin-off of.
Jerry, I see that comic from Dynamite Comics.
Jerry, just straight Jerry. Yeah, it'd be perfect. I think.
Smell
or
like
if
crazy too.
Yeah, or a Zeke Bob's Burgers spin-off I'll do. But yeah, I don't really, I'm not really that too into characters that have already been done to death. You know what I mean?
All right,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Hades, what are your thoughts on that?
I would go back to. I was a huge fan of The Authority the first time round, and I love Midnighter. He's the ultimate bastard, and he was one of those. I know they gave him his spin-off, but he's just such a great character. I would love to kind of roll my sleeves up and go, right, okay, let's see what I can do with this guy. I thought it was when The Authority was on the first run. To me, it was some of the most like amazing champagne storytelling. Like it was so good, and even though he was one of the lowest powered members of the team, he had some of the best panels. He had some of the best one-liners, and he was one of the most vicious heroes ever. And I was kind of like, he's an arsehole, but I think he's great. So I would, Midnighter all day. I think great character.
Cool. Randy, what are you thinking?
I live for in the ether. I'm telling you, the second banana superheroes and characters are my love, literally. I made a pitch to DC when Bob Schreck was Batman editor for Man Bat and the Outsiders. Really wanted to do that in the worst way. They weren't a superhero team. They were a group therapy session and had Man Bat, Creeper, Vixen, Katana, Metamorpho was in there. And their mode of transportation was Ambush Bug, who was so happy to be part of a team that he would literally pop in, grab somebody and pop them out, and get them all together at one place. Who knew where? They would just do it. But that proposal never got off the ground.
That sounds like DC Comics' answer to Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yeah, almost all of them were emotionally damaged, though, at that point. Had Man-Bat going through a divorce, and Katana's sword kept talking to her, and Metamorpho was upset that he was never a regular member of the Justice League, real resentful. Had a lot of hidden anger. But anyway, like I said, that Phantom Stranger ends up getting them all together and says, hey, you guys are all kind of, idiots, but if you all get together, you could maybe save the world, And then they all just, Ambush Bug especially decides that they're a team. So, but other than that, Phantom Stranger, I'd love to get my hands on. Dead Man, I'd love to get my hands on. The list is endless. Over at Marvel, I would love to have done Monarch Starstalker before they went through and screwed him up royally with the last run of whatever the last time he was around. But there's a Weird World I would love to do. There's all of these great little side properties that they've popped out at one point or another that are like, oh, that's got potential, and everybody, all of those second banana characters have potential. That's why you get all these great runs out there in the corporate comics, is that they have these great creators come in that take a secondary character or a character that's not selling as well, and then they turn them directly around because they're able to see the potential in these characters and tune them up. Daredevil is a grand example. The X-Men is a grand example. Would have never happened if they didn't decide, hey, I can take this and tune it up. Neil Adams walks into the Marvel offices and wants a book. Give me your lowest seller so everybody will leave me alone. That's the whole idea, and the second banana characters have always been great. Killraven over at Marvel, I'd give my eye teeth the right. That's War of the Worlds. But yeah, the list is endless. We can talk for hours. Manhunter. Cool. Manhunter, I'd love to do Paul Kirk. I'd love to do a reboot of that. That would be incredible. A lot of fun. What a great character that was, Paul Kirk.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's a reason it won all those awards when it was first out back in the late 70s. It's just great stuff. Anyway, yeah.
All right, cool. Ray, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know what, Tom? As soon as I saw that clean-shaven face, and you actually said the name,
He wants to do the story of Tom.
I'm telling you. Take this
Story
as
of
the
Tom.
compliment as it is. Please, please, please. You see that? Did it share?
Mm-mm. Oh, there it is.
Share. Hold on. Present. Share screen. Window. There we go. Boom. There we go. That's Jason, the Red Ranger. And as soon as I saw you clean shaven, I'm like, that's him. Anyways, stop sharing. For me, if I had to take some type of B-level character, the first thing, if a publisher said, "Hey, what do you want?" I would want something that is low level for the opportunity to make that character shine. And you've kind of already talked about this, Randy. Really great example is during the Civil War era of what Brian Michael Bendis did with Luke Cage. And Luke Cage making a stand and saying, "I'm not hiding from these guys. I want everybody to see exactly what they're going to do to me." And I thought that was a real pivotal spring. I mean, he was already a great character, but I thought he got a lot more notice after that point to the popularity that he has more so now. If I could just pick anybody, I would pick Cecil from Invincible, who's the equivalent of Nick Fury in that era. He's my favorite character in that series. I really like him a lot. And you always see him responding to things, but imagine a story revolving around a day in the life as him, just high stress as soon as his big toe hits the floor, assuming he does sleep, of course. But I think that would be a really cool thing to write for me.
Cool. Mr. Medina.
So I think so. Growing up, I was a big fan of the Turtles, right? So I'm not gonna go DC Marvel, but if whoever's printing them now, I think it's IDW. I don't know if he has the rights anymore. But with the success of I think of the Ronin books that they have out there, I think what I would like to do is maybe take Casey Jones and do like a story.
That would be cool
about Casey Jones. I think, especially with the fact that he has a daughter now, and all that, like how did that happen with April and how they relate? Like, I think I would like to explore more of his life. I think Casey Jones would be the one I would like to write.
All right, cool. Jay.
This is fun because I am an 80s kid. Ray was touching on it a little bit a moment ago. I'm not just an 80s kid. I'm an 80s toys kid, right? And that's making a big revival right now. G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Thundercats are popping up. Well, I'm waiting to see Spider-Ham get his own series.
Peter Porker?
Peter Porker,
Peter Porker.
Spider-Man.
Those were the Star Comics and Marvel, right?
Yeah.
But I would love, and I have an idea on how to do it too. Bring the Visionaries into the Energon universe, which was a 80s toy property from Hasbro, or even the Inhumanoids, which was also an 80s toy property. The guys in mech suits fighting, the Elder Gods, the Cthulhu stuff. I got two takes. How do I fucking get to them? I don't know. But if they wrapped up Void Rivals into the Energon universe, I definitely got to spit on that. But going along the Rankin and Bass and Thundercat stuff, I got to take on Silverhawks, but I really got to take on Tiger Sharks because
Tiger Shark. Haven't heard that one in a while.
Lord, you're right. And there's so much ground to cover with that. It's like what Randy was saying, when they would go into the offices and give me your worst title and just leave me alone. Shit, I could go all over the place with Tiger Sharks. And I really liked that reboot of Thundercats from 2011. I know it's pretty much taboo, but there's one episode when they were on Mun-Ra's ship, and you saw them incorporate Tiger Sharks and Silverhawks into that episode, and I was like, and then the series, I was like, sons of bitches, you know.
Potential there now.
So I would love to tackle that stuff. Or I mean, I got nothing on Brave Star, but once Ray mentioned Tex Hex, my mind was like, or if I could get my hands on Black Star, that would be great too. You know, Filmation had a nice little catalog of IP before they got He-Man. Excuse me, that I'd love to get my hands on. Sorry, I dated myself with a lot of these things.
All good.
No,
There's
not at all.
watching and they're like, what the fuck is that? But if you're an 80s kid, that was it, you know, that was it, man.
You're not dating yourself. Like for me, I'm 40 years old. Well, I'm not 40 years old. I'm at level 40. That's all.
Mhm.
Brother, I'm playing the back nine on my 40s, you know.
Level to level,
to
man.
phase out, man. You know, but like Visionaries was cool shit. I don't know if anybody remember.
Man.
Yeah, see, they were, you know, they were just a little bit bigger than G.I. Joe. I think they Action Force over there in the UK, right? For you, Hades.
Yeah, no, we had GI Joe imports, yeah. So Action Force were bigger, and then we had the GI Joes. But yeah, I had the first Visionary figure I got was Kravax. And here's a weird thing: as you're talking, I'll introduce you to him. He's now a really good buddy of mine. He's a cosplayer, and I was at this one convention, and I just happened to look up at Kravax full hologram and staff and everything. Just walked past my table.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'll introduce you to him. He's a dude.
That's nice. I was a fan of Witterquick. You know, I thought the name was whimsical. You know, and it played definitely to what he was, and I was just like, oh my god.
Oh, it's a great show, mate. Great show.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. That's cool.
Bond with Haydes after the show.
There you go. I think for myself, there's a character called the Shroud at Marvel Comics, and he was like one of these super B level.
B is complimenting.
Isn't he just a wannabe Cloak?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
He's
Dagger. Yeah, and I had envisioned him working for Doctor Strange, and he would be doing all the garbage work on the monster level that Doctor Strange didn't want to deal with, and he would just be like Doctor Strange would literally be just just go take care of that. You know, the vampires over there, just go deal with that, and that would be his job. And he'd always come back, always beat the shit out, like he had the shit kicked out of him.
He had an interesting hook, though, dude. The Shroud had an interesting hook, right?
Yeah.
He was the leader of the Night Shift, which was a bunch of villains. So he was right?
Wasn't he blind in real life?
Yeah,
he was blind, right? By Kali. So that was, I mean, they fucked up with the costume because it was black on dark navy blue, but it was supposed to be Kali imprinted on the head of the Shroud, dude.
Yeah. One of my favorite Doctor Strange comics has got a crossover with Brother Voodoo. And Doctor Strange is constantly looking down his nose at him. Clea's enamored by him. Oh, look at that. He came through a puff of smoke and he's like, parlor tricks. What are why are you bothering me with this? And Brother Voodoo's in New York because he's been chasing his big bad that he's always been chasing through all of his comics, and tracked him to New York. Doctor Strange spends the whole issue just chasing after him like a greased pig. And then eventually captures the demon in the little whatever bands of Rogoth or whatever, and the demon fronts on him and goes, "Don't you know who I am? I am this and this." And Doctor Strange looks at him and says, "No, you're just a parademon with delusions of grandeur." He says, "You're beneath my contempt," and he snaps his fingers and exiles him.
Bye-bye.
Just love it. That's Doctor Strange to me, you know.
Anyway. I was going to call him Cloak. Shroud didn't have any interactions with Doctor Strange. I could have swore he was.
He might have, but it's been forever since I looked into it. So it's just like one of those things that's been sitting. As far as like B characters go, that's the one I would probably.
It's pretty close to C or D character.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Actually,
yeah. I mean, exactly. Cloak is the B character, so Shroud would easily be
definitely be
the C character.
C minus. Yes.
It's like, they're like, we'll rip off the shittier character, so nobody will notice that we're ripping off the shittier character because nobody knows who the shittier character
Oh,
is.
that's great.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you do when the
Unfortunately,
editor
I've
says
gotta
you
get
can't
going.
use them.
That's
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Create a new one.
I got to go. Unfortunately, this has been great. It's good to
Ray,
see
All right.
take care,
Right,
bud.
Ray.
All right.
Yeah,
Take it
right.
easy.
Hey,
Ray.
Ray.
Have a good one. Thank
Yep.
you.
Be good.
All right.
But yeah, that's
Tom.
hilarious.
Tom, it's in your court. Who would you write?
So there's a few things over the years. I kind of dropped out of the whole idea of even working for Marvel or DC. Like it didn't. It's kind of like Jeff. It's kind of like I just prefer to write my own stuff. But as I started to think about it, my brain always went to the B and C characters. Like I didn't want to write Batman or Captain America or whatever. But when I used to write when I used to read Captain America back in the 80s, they had this group called the Serpent Society, which was they were all just based on snakes and lizards and just all kinds of crap. Princess Python and the Death Adder and, all that kind of stuff. And they're the guys that killed off MODOK in one of those episodes. So I always liked those weird dudes, and they've come back over the years in all these different incarnations of Serpent Central and, whatever. So I was like, these guys seem like they would be the dudes that are really behind all of the problems of low level, not obviously not cosmic level, but like low level problems of the Marvel universe. Like, you could write stories where everywhere you go, it's these fucking snakes are screwing around with things, and people are, and there's endless amounts of them, and you can just start making up more snake dudes and just have these guys be like, holy shit, this is like a real problem, like globally with this Serpent Society guys. So I thought that would be kind of a fun thing. And then
Could always have a loser dude trying to get into the group too called the Gardener.
the gardeners, yeah, exactly. And then there is this sort of tiptoes into high level with Batgirl, except I don't want Batgirl. I want Alicia Silverstone Batgirl. I want that Batgirl. And they've been doing all these comics like Batman 89 and all this kind of stuff. So I want that Batgirl to do a story with. That would be the DC flip side of stuff. And then you guys got into the TV thing. I don't know how many of you people know, but I actually pitched Croft to do a Land of Lost series back when I first started making comics. I had direct contact with Croft to do that. We produced pitch pages and the whole thing. And the guys that we talked to, they were like, dude, this looks amazing, but we've already been in contact with another publisher and it's been a while and they're going to get the contract to do this. And I was like, I understand, that's a bummer, but I understand. And then as it turns out, that publisher completely fucked them over. Here's what happened. As I was talking to them and they were saying no to me, right, I assumed that this publisher signed a contract. So I saw Land of the Lost in previews, right? Like, oh, there it is. They got the contract. They're going to do the book. The next book in previews, it wasn't there. The next book in previews, it wasn't there. The next book in previews, it wasn't there. So I contacted Croft again. I was like, well, so what happened? Were they just doing one issue? Because if you're looking for a long-term contract, I'm willing to do a long-term contract. And they were like, what are you talking about? I said, well, it was solicited for sale in the previews like 3 months ago. And she says, they never signed the contract. So what this publisher did was pre-solicit the book to see what their sales numbers would be before they signed the contract. And then they clearly didn't get what they expected and they backed out of the deal.
So who is the publisher?
I'll let you all do your own research on that.
Okay. I mean, because this is in previews. This is public knowledge. It's not
exactly. You can go back and find it, and it would be around the time that I started about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
That means
and she was pissed. She was like, I don't even know how I can tell Ted and Marty like what just happened. They are going to go through the roof, and that basically just shut down all of the talks for like comics for anyone. The doors just closed on it. So
did you just want that, or would you have done the whole catalog?
Well, I would have done everything, but I wanted to start with Land of the Lost. I felt like that was the one that had the most potential pop. And then from there, you could go Electro Woman Diner Girl. You could do Sigmund and the Sea Monster. I mean, Bigfoot and Wild Boy. Like you could do all of it. But Land of the Lost is where I wanted to start because I felt like that was the biggest world that had already been built that you could play in and really do some interesting things.
I live in Lidsville.
So this was after the movie, though.
This was right before the movie happened. This was a couple of years before the movie. Yeah,
Right, yeah, that makes.
And then
more
the movie
sense.
didn't help anything after that.
No.
When the movie came out, all that licensing stuff kind of just went away.
Like, yeah, if we could pick a spin-off of something that doesn't have a comic yet, like like that kind of thing, I would like to do. Like, now that Venture Brothers got canceled, I'd like to do a comic for them. That's some shit.
They're
I
not going to
love,
do the movie, the final movie.
They did it already. Yeah, it's out there.
Oh
Yeah,
shit! It's on in the Hulu or no?
HBO Max. It's on.
Oh, I gotta look that up, man.
Yeah, it's good. It was a good ending. Hopefully it's not the ending. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if I could really just take anything and make a comic out of it, even if it had to be a spin-off, like the OSI or something like that, like Guild of Clowns, or like the Triad, like you were talking about with like Doctor Strange getting his ass whooped with all his friends. Like I could totally go with that. But that's the one thing where it's like I have ideas where for a property, but most stuff it's like. Like when all the stuff Randy was saying, it's like, man, I never even read these comics. It's like I'm missing out on it. But then you think of like I wanted to do a question comic. I feel like for 15 years, and then it's like now the question's been around. Everybody wants to do. It's like all the ideas I had for those kind of things were before I started making my own comics, and now I'm like, it's all been done. All the X-Men got spin-offs. You know what I mean? Like it's all been done. But yeah, but the ideas you guys have, like it's like that, there's some shit. Like everybody's been holding that one they want, and it's cool, man. Like it's so exciting, like hearing these kinds of ideas. But
I do have a request for one creator who owns their property that there's unexplored territory that really needs to be touched on. I mean, I've been seeing it for weeks and I don't know why this creator hasn't capitalized on that combination
like
of the two elements.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I'd love to see Critter fight a great white shark. I mean, it's there.
We already did it. We did it. We did it, Jay.
Got it done, bro.
Yeah, we did an entire series where this guy named Tidepool floods the world, and the waters are rising, and there's sharks swimming around the cities. We've already done it, man.
Genius. Yeah, that's. I mean, you do got quite a few issues out, so yeah, I got to catch up myself.
I love it. That needs to be the cover, though. Her riding a shark like the Fonz. Just you're missing out on it, bro. You're missing out on it. And I'm not trying to shit on you. I'm not trying to take a dig. I mean, you gotta play that up. Lean into it heavy, bro.
He's not taking a dig. He's just setting you up.
No, I'd pop for that big time. I'd pop for that big time, bro. I mean, don't have her wear the leather jacket or anything like that.
Oh, come on. I thought with the whole funds, you got to have the leather jacket.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. This has been fun. We made it to hour 2. So please, let's wrap this up. Randy, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Indy Comics Network, Friday morning and Sunday morning, or we're archived over there for your viewing pleasure. We go through a lot of great old sequential artwork. Aerocomics.store. You can find a lot of my work over there. Like The Fool and Calico and 2 issues of this guy, HeroBot Zero. He's available over there. It's a fun little cartoon robot who defends his city from large monsters as long as he can do it on the clock. Shadow Kingdom over at fundmycomic.com. Also, go over there and take a look at that. Really proud of that work, and there's a lot more coming with the Atlantean. We'll be offering campaigns for that as soon as the work is done. And then, after that, I got a list. So Tales from the Aniverse Omnibus is in the wings. I just talked to Sue last week about the Varsel's Vixen companion volume. That'll be with that. That's a property I did way back in the 80s that very few people, even realized was out there. That, again, just some great stuff. Then, more Calico, more My Little Monkey. Got to get back on that, too. So who knows where. So
I swear.
Yeah,
George.
I'm going to make Jay Rosario very happy at getyourmeds.com. Just go to the website. Check me out there. Check me out there. Also, obviously go to asapimagination.com, anyoneworld.com to, pre-order the books and stuff like that. You can always, find a link in my website. On social media, I'm also on there. Check out the website for that. And then on YouTube, go to Get Your Meds. Type in Get Your Meds on YouTube and check out the YouTube channel. So
All right, cool. Jeff, where can I find you in your work, sir?
Getmagicpowder.com is my site. You can get all the comics there. You know what I mean? Obviously, we're on Kickstarter right now. So if you want to hit up the Elf with No Name on Kickstarter, you can also get all the Magic Powder issues. They're all there as add-ons. There's also a tier with, it's called like the Magic Powder digital or physical tiers. And you'll get, the first 5 issues of that, the first 2 issues of the Elf with No Name, and you'll be all caught up. So that's cool. And, the Elf with No Name's right here. And that's about it.
Oh, nice. Hades, where can they find you?
Anywhere on social media is ASAP Imagination. Then we've got the website, asapimagination.com, and then for anyone who's looking to get distributed, published, etc., is anyoneworld.com, which is where you'll find George's stuff as well.
Nice.
All right, so cool. Mr. Hutchison.
All right, we still have our producer back there.
No, I think she broke out, bro.
Well, I was trying to share something for Jay so I can show him that we did our shark book. We'll have to show it to him and I'll show it to him later.
If you share it, I can pull it up.
Yeah, it's
share
shared
it on your end.
It's shared.
All right, hold on.
I want to see this.
Let's see it.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah!
Oh shit!
He was not
There you
playing
go.
around.
Very cool. Wait, that's a 2-page splash.
That's a double splash, baby.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's a 2-page splash.
On it.
yeah, really. With a giant word kaploosh. I like it.
Now,
Yeah.
the sequel, there's got to be a sequel. Does she team up with the shark that she beat up? So
She tames the shark.
you got to go, bro. Lean in. Fuck it. It's comic books. Alternate vision, alternate world, alternate whatever, the multiverse, all of that shit. It's got to happen.
All right.
Sharks, we've done it. We're doing it, and we're doing more. So guys, Critter is running on Kickstarter for 1 more week. We will end basically 7 days and 2 hours from now. So jump on board. We're really close to another stretch goal. There's a bunch of stuff there that you'll dig on, and the book is awesome. You can find us at Big Dog Inc. pretty much anywhere you go: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Patreon. We're all over the place.
Hell yeah.
Jay.
UnstoppableComics.com. You can find sometimes up-to-date information on there, but you can find all of my social media links on the website. Check me out Saturday nights, 9:00. Sometimes with this one, sometimes with that one. Definitely never with that one because he doesn't love me enough, George. He doesn't want to show up on. He chooses the misses over me, which hurts my ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
My
silly
ego.
me.
But you can catch me on Saturday nights on the newly branded Comic Book Streamland, where we talk comics and shit. And don't shake your head. Don't shake your head, bro. I identified a vacuum with the phrase, and I'm leaning into
You
it,
definitely
bro.
are a vacuum. Yes.
Headbanging son of a bitch.
Just said he sucks.
So Saturday nights, and we're gonna have just as much fun there as we do here. Bullshit, laughs, have fun, talk comics, crack jokes on each other, shit like
I'm still waiting on my perfect trivia plaque.
It'll be platinum, just like the YouTube thing. Don't worry, it's coming, baby. And we do trivia as well. We have fun with trivia. Tom,
We don't have fun with
to
trivia.
a clean sweep, which I don't get it, but somebody who hates X-Men 97, he got all of those answers.
I told you, TikTok gave me all of those answers.
All right, okay, all right, but
This is why they're trying to ban TikTok, so I can't win trivia.
No.
That's where it
I
comes
think
from.
you'd be banned from the next trivia night. How about that?
That must be it.
So we're there Saturday nights, hanging out, bullshitting, having fun with the guys, and sometimes the girls. For the next 19 days, Kickstarter, New York versus the world, zombies, New Yorkers, love us or hate us, something for you in it.
There's something for you.
All right, cool. So you can find me on most social media on the JD Calderon. Sunday nights, you can find me here. Currently, I don't have any campaigns running except tomorrow. It's going to be 3 books for $3 plus shipping. Hey, just check it out. It's coming tomorrow. It's going to be live. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. And please, everyone, go check the show notes. Hit those links. Support these creators. All of them doing fantastic books. They're all doing fantastic work. So go check out those books. All right. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Nice. Take care.